Welcome back, awesome Ashley fans and subscribers. About a year ago, I reviewed the first three of the water margin figures from this company, Z&Y Productions Hong Kong Limited. They've got another two figures released. I'm going to review them, this one now, the one after, and I've got a lot more on the way, including horses, which would be nice to see how they compare with the Boss Fight Studio horses that will be coming out later this year, I think, or next year. So this first one, he might have a name. If he does, it's going to be in Chinese, which is not going to help me. Hopefully one of my Chinese reading subscribers can tell me if there is a name there. It's from Water Margin, which says on the side here, Heroes of the Marsh, which was a famous story. And also there were a couple of TV series. One was a Japanese production, which I saw when I was a kid and loved it. And others were Chinese productions, maybe Hong Kong production, I'm not sure. Back it just shows some features which are in Chinese, which doesn't really help me, but it does show what comes in the box. And on the bottom it just says not for children under 3 years old, and just says model number, model WM Heroes, Water Margin 108, Z&T, not Z&J, Z&T Productions Hong Kong Limited. Okay, let's open this up and have a look. I am looking forward to this. The ones that I reviewed before looked really nice, but the plastic was a bit cheap and the hands struggled to hold the weapons, which was not great, but the aesthetic was really, really nice, particularly if you are after sort of Asian stroke Oriental fantasy figures. Now, interesting packing. What's going to happen is when you take it apart and take these parts out, things will drop out. That's from experience, so I'm going to be very careful so nothing drops on the floor and gets lost. Oh, this way around. So as with the other ones I reviewed last year, you have a base. There's a whole heap of hands in here. You have like a, I don't want to call that a headstone, some sort of a stone part, and that will fit in here on the base. The scenery aspect is nice, but it's the same setup for all the figures for display. I'd rather have something that's a bit more dioramic than these, but it looks cool. I've got a bag, and I've got, oh my god, 2 bags of so many hands. I'm not sure it's supposed to be 2 bags or 1 hand. Maybe one is the left and one is the right hand. I will look. I have here spare head, and it looks like spare upper arms, alternative head with the arms. You have here is halberd, pretty decent plastic, but the colouring sucks. I'll be repainting that in the future, but that does look really nice, and having that as a fancy weapon, particularly into your Boss Fight Studio stuff, will be pretty cool. Handle is kind of thick though, so may struggle for some other lines to hold it. And the figure, which will be pretty big, as their scale is rather large, and his hat. And I get 2 cards underneath showing 2 different figures. So it shows this guy and some other guy and stuff in Chinese which I can't read. Maybe one of you guys can. And on the back there's loads of Chinese. So if you can read Chinese, you can pause and have a read and see what it says. But I can see it says different things. Okay, so first, let me look at the figure in a minute. The weapon looks quite cool. Let me look at the hands, see if actually they gave me 2 bags by mistake, or whether they are actually 2 bags worth of hands. It's nice having so many hands because you can use them in customs for other figures. Plastic quality seems to be the same as last time, a bit cheap on the hands, but the variety you can get for poses and for different dioramic scenes is great. If you are going to use them with other figures that are going to need some modification, which means you can't use them back with your original figure. So be careful. So let me arrange these quickly into pairs. So this is left hand pointing. This is, oh, so they're not one left and one hand. This is right hand pointing. So you can go, yay! Okay, it's pretty cool. This seems like a weapon or trigger hand, but you can't hold a gun because the lower fingers are together. This is one that could hold a weapon or a gun. It's a right hand. This is the corresponding left hand to that. Corresponding hand to the trigger hand. This is the open hand. This is like a tiger claw hand. wrong side, no, right side. This is the corresponding tiger claw hand, is that right? Yep. And it's worth noting that these hands have articulation, all of them, which is pretty cool. That's a corresponding hand there. Two finger hands, so if you're using like a Chinese Jian straight sword, they do lots of things with two fingers. And also for like some of the movie stuff and the Kung Fu stuff. And then he has... Awesome! He's given the bird. He's got two bird hands, which is just absolutely fantastic. That is brilliant. I was not expecting that. I love this figure already. I don't care if the figure and everything else is terrible. Having two hands doing that for your action figures is pretty awesome. Okay, it appears that I have matching spare hands. If that, yep, I've got the bird hand here. If that's the case, they may have given me extra hands by mistake. But I'm happy to have the spare hands, which I can now use in other figures and modify them and not worry about... It's the bird hands again. Not worry about not having them fit my original figure. Are they all matching? Yes, they are. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs of hands. For some reason I've got 14 pairs of hands. Or 7 pairs of hands times 2 because they are matching. Awesome stuff. You will have to take some of the parts off on some of the hands, but that's fine. I will try a couple of hands a bit later. The second bag I'm going to put back. I'll put back in the big bag, so I'll get some bags spare. Ooh. Let me have a look at... There we go. So here he has... Oh, the head looks pretty cool. So, yeah, it looks more Western than Asian on the head here. It looks a little bit like Shipwreck, but the head is a fair bit larger. He has upper arms or lower arms? These look like to be lower arms, in fact, because the hand will go in there. And he has a matching set there, and they are identical, just a different colour to the original ones. I'm not sure why they include those when they won't match with the clothes he's wearing. Okay, so let's put those parts back in. I'll put the spare set of hands. I don't know if it's purposefully or accidentally sent me back in as well. Maybe I just got lucky. Or maybe they do it of all the things. I hope they do. That's such a cool feature. And a big sales pitch as well for you 118 collectors and customizers. His hat is a soft material with two sort of straps, hoops inside, which will go over something, I'm sure. Let's have a look at him. He is a big boy. Okay, so difference in the head. He has some sort of birthmark and maybe a tattoo on his face. Birthmark and a little tattoo. Aesthetically, he looks really good. Rubbery sort of appearance. Head is quite strong. The arms seem quite strong. In fact, the plastic seems far superior and better quality to the ones that I reviewed last year, which is nice. He does have a good aesthetic. He is a huge figure. They are big 118 scale figures anyway, so he's going to be absolutely massive. Let's see. Have a look at articulation. So arms, I think slightly over 180. Head, right and left, not really an up and down, not really a side to side, which is a shame. Also, difference in the head, he doesn't have the bun part, which means he'll probably wear the hat better. Let's have a look at his bicep curl. I'm not expecting great things from this. Yep, that is a pretty appalling bicep curl. Leg popped out the joint straight away, but I was kind of expecting that. So that happened with the ones from last year. This is a very simple ball and joint system. If you go too far, they will pop out, like this one's trying to pop out already as well. Not great for doing martial arts, which you kind of associate with these guys and the heroes of the Marsh water margin. If you look underneath, you can see that they want to pop out. That's to do with the sculpt pushing against. Okay, so you look here, that part goes into the hip joint and that part goes into the thigh. But with the sculpt, it's going to push against it and get resistance and pop out very, very easily. That was the wrong side, which is a shame. But the system is quite nice for customizing its spare parts very easily. They have is it a double knee or single knee? It's a double knee joint, but his cloak will get in the way. Quite good though. And the ankles, he has forwards and downwards. There is a turn and there is a small side to side. I just put his legs on back to front because I had his head the wrong way. Okay, let me just change that back again. I do like this. Aesthetically, he is really good. If you're strictly into you're very strict about your 1/18 scale, then he's going to be a tad big for you. 2 hands he comes with are fist hands, so that makes what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 pairs of hands, including the standard hands he comes with. The stuff he has on him can be taken off, which is pretty cool. Just wish his elbows would bend a bit more than that, but it's the sculpt that gets in the way. Okay, so let's swap his head over. Very easy. And let's see which way around his hat's going to go. I think it really doesn't matter. Yes, your Raiden got a Thunder Hook's pretty damn cool there. Stand up. Out the box, easy. Okay, he does look pretty cool with the hat on. Okay, let's try and swap an arm around. I'll go for one of the hands. In fact, I'll have to go for a weapons hand, so how he holds it. I'll go for his Tiger Claw hand, since that one is already off the spoon. That is a right hand. Ooh. That hand does not want to come off easily. Maybe you have to swap the forearms around to get the actual hand to come out, but I can't believe they'd have glued this in. That seems like a bit of a... Yeah, that's going to break if I do that. So let me see about taking his forearms off first then. Okay, so he's taking his forearms off. Easy enough. So it appears that the standard forearms, the hands are glued in, which I can't see the logic of that, particularly when these other forearms don't have the same colouring, so it won't actually match his clothes. So if I just compare that again for you, so let me see. That's of a purple, that's more of like a browny colour, but anyway. Oops, let's not drop that. Let's pop these in, so that should be this arm. Get his head back on it as well with his neck peg. And this one should be the other arm. Oh, that's going to be a bit of a struggle because it keeps turning. There we go. Okay, and let's see. Same bicep curl. Okay, so let's put his Tiger Claw hand in this one. Oh! Maybe I should put the hand in before I put the forearm in. Okay. Pretty cool. Quite easy to put in and out, not too difficult. But that's a bit scary taking out that little sound as well, but it didn't break, fortunately. Head does come out, or the neck peg comes out a little bit too easy for my liking, so I'll push that a bit further. Let's get some weapon hands. In fact, before I take the hands off, I will see which ones hold this the best. Probably this pair of hands, it looks like. So this is his right hand. Yeah, that holds that very well. So I take that off. There we go. And struggle with his hand, put it back in again. Okay, that was quite easy. He does hold that pretty well. And if I give him a open hand maybe on the other side. Okay. So posing is going to be an issue with the bicep bend being so bad. But they are aesthetically very, very pleasing. Let's put his hat on him as well. And coming with the, including his default hands, coming with 8 pairs of hands that come off his head, his neck, sorry, is pretty damn awesome. So that is impressive. I have to say that sorry, I missed off some articulation. He does have a waist articulation as well, but it's kind of ruined by the clothes. Okay, that's back on again. Let's stand him up. I'll put the hands away altogether, all my other spare hands. In fact, I'll put them in a different bag. So I'll have one bag for hands I can use for customs or swapping around with other figures if they fit, and one set of hands will stay for him. And then I'm going to compare him with some other 1/18 scale figures just to see, or have a look at the size comparison. Now you'll see that he is a big boy, which is going to be nice if you like big 1/18 scale figures, but he might be a little bit out of scale if you're going to do lots of fantasy stuff with lots of different lines, but I don't care too much about that, if I'm honest. Okay, let's put the head and this one in here as well. Okay, so I'm going to compare him with, first of all, let's go for a G.I. Joe. And he's in a tower above Shipwreck. He's like a giant. Okay, but still okay scale. Okay, let's look at a Joy Toy, who are a little bit small, and he towers above the Joy Toy as well, but still the scale is acceptable. Let's look at a Zombie Labs. This is Bane without his jacket. Zombie Labs are quite tall, and again he's taller than the Zombie Labs. Let's look at an Acid Rain AMM Prospector, not the tallest of the Acid Rain World ones, but again he towers above this. If you had like a Reborn Trooper, that would be a much better comparison. Let's look at a Guardians of the Galaxy Groot, who is a huge 1/18 scale figure, and you see that now he looks pretty tiny, but he might chop down the tree. Okay, let's look at my go-to for big, and that's Marvel Infinite Hulk. Hulk towers above him, as you would expect, but he does scale well. And then, do I have a Boss Fight Studios figure at hand? I think I have one over here, but without his hair. This is Vandar the Barbarian, Fantasy and Fantasy, and they scale pretty damn good. The last thing to do is just to check how his weapon is with Boss Fight Studios. I'll put it in Vandar's sword hand, because it's got quite a wide grip, and yeah, he can hold that well. So that is pretty damn good for your fantasy world. They do tower over the all the 1/18 pretty much, but they are really nice. And can he hold Vandar's sword in his weapon hand? I think he can, and he holds it rather well. Now it's worth noting that these are less so toys than some of the other 1/18 scale figures, because they'll come apart very easily. So if even your kids like them, they will get annoyed or lose parts, so you need to be careful. But they are really nice. They have really upped the quality from the first 3 releases I reviewed last year. I like that a lot, and I can't compare the ones from last year because they're in Malaysia and I'm in China. Okay, so let's just put the things back. Oh, I will put him on his stand again in a second. Well, not again, but put him on a stand. How does he fit on his stand? Quite easily. Let's do 2 holes for his feet so he can stand very easily there. Quite atmospheric. He does look good. I like this a lot. Okay, I'm going to be reviewing the other one I've got. other new one I've got in a second, so stay tuned. This is Awesome Action Toys signing out, saying please like, share and subscribe. I'll be back soon with more awesome action videos for you. Stay happy and keep collecting. Bye bye.